Spooky, spooky stuff, I gotta say. They can solve the world's problems to improve you, creating a resilient and sustainable future for all that normally you would call God. Welcome back, guys. So this video was actually inspired by the great B.D. McGee, aka IQE Labs. They wanted me to share my perspective and also the info I found on Project Q, this supposed super advancement in AI that even threatens humanity, whatever that means. So if you're not into AI or hearing my opinions and you just want pure journalism, well, this video might not be for you. So my apologies in advance. So in this video, I'll quickly review the Reuters article, which is the one that started this whole Project Q, threat to humanity kind of thing. And then I'll go over some other stuff as commentary to the whole Project Q and just AI itself. Now, I'm no fan of Sam Altman at all, but I do respect the man for taking this company from a nonprofit into something extremely valuable. So when Sam Altman was fired, there were all these rumors as to why. I made a video about it as well, and my theory I still think is the right one, which is all just about money. How to commercialize OpenAI for the highest possible return. So while Sam is negotiating deals with OpenAI and even Microsoft, and maybe open an AI division with Microsoft, all these rumors are coming out as to why he's being fired. Then Reuters drops an article claiming there was a letter written to the board of directors warning of a powerful development in AI, so powerful that it can threaten humanity. And this advancement in AI was dubbed Project Q. So this Q project, actually called Q Star, these fancy people, they have to use coded language for everything. And honestly, I think it's part of the PR. If you make it sound too simple or the advancements too gradual, you can't sell the product as easily. So prior to Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, getting fired, he gave a speech at a summit for world leaders. This was the APEC summit in San Francisco. APEC standing for Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, where the theme is creating a resilient and sustainable future for all. So during that speech at the summit, Sam Altman revealed there was a big breakthrough in AI. So listen to this quote that he gave at the speech right before he was fired. He said, 4 times in the history of OpenAI, the most recent time in the last couple of weeks, I've been in the room when we sort of push the veil of ignorance back and the frontier of discovery forward. And getting to do that is the professional honor of a lifetime. A master at poetic PR and marketing, I would say. So they claim this Q-Star is the advancement that could threaten humanity because they see it as a breakthrough in artificial general intelligence. And OpenAI defines artificial general intelligence, AGI, as autonomous systems that can surpass human intelligence. Hence, it's a threat to humanity, and hence it sounds creepy. That's the Terminator scenario, where the machines become sort of sentient beings, or something like that. At least that's what they want us to think. So using different angles, potentially fear-mongering that their advancements are so great is a strategy. And that makes sense, because that's saying our company, our product is so powerful. This is what it can do. It can threaten humanity itself. And if it can threaten humanity, well, guess what? It can also make you very rich. Because if it can threaten humanity, it can dominate competitors. So the Q-Star breakthrough claims that the AI can now solve basic mathematical problems, supposedly performing at the level of a grade school student, claiming the AI has aced such tests. And hence they're very optimistic about their developments and, of course, AI, which of course would cause the company to be valued higher. And I think that's key. It's all about making OpenAI seem extremely important in the AI industry, especially because so many other companies are jumping on the bandwagon and also hoping to reap the financial benefits. So they claim by conquering this ability to do math, this AGI, the artificial general intelligence, the AI can generalize, it can learn, and it can comprehend. And this mathematical reasoning supposedly implies that it can resemble human intelligence. Spooky, spooky stuff, I gotta say. So of course, big data and synthesizing this data is how a lot of companies make money. And OpenAI is no different. They need vast amounts of information to not only train the AI, but also to make money from the AI. And to state the obvious, the AI can't be intelligent at all if it has no data access. So this Q-Star, supposedly so advanced that it prompted a couple of the staff members at OpenAI to write a letter to the board. I think the whole letter itself, and throwing it out there for the media, was itself a marketing push. Even the chief AI scientist at Meta, Facebook, Yan LeCun, I don't know how to say his name, Anyways, he makes the whole thing sound not that novel and honestly not that earth-shattering. He says bluntly, please ignore the deluge of complete nonsense surrounding Q, or Q-star. This guy claims that one of the main challenges to improve the large learning model reliability is to replace autoregression token prediction with planning. But he says that every top lab, essentially every competitor along with OpenAI, is working on these exact same things, that some have already published ideas and even results. He says it's likely Q-star is OpenAI's attempt at planning. So AI planning and forecasting is a field within artificial intelligence that's used to make scientific predictions about the future without requiring oversight, possibly oversight from humans. And he went on to say that this field of planning in AI is a centerpiece of controlling engineering, robotics, and classical AI. And they hired Noam Brown, which is an expert in this field. And it all kind of makes sense. So clearly the chief AI scientist for Meta is not that impressed with Sam Altman. So he makes it clear that within the AI field, all this stuff has been explored, and it's a well-known issue. But the board itself, in their press release as to why Sam was fired, they said commercializing advances before understanding the consequences is one of the reasons why Sam was fired. Basically, Sam wanted more money as fast as possible, and the board, who most of them did not work at OpenAI nor hold company equity, meaning the money incentive for them was not there. So Sam Altman, being in charge of commercializing ChatGPT, taking it away from this nonprofit approach, getting Microsoft involved, upping that valuation of the company to $30 billion, and now potentially pushing $90 billion. Huge, vast sums of money involved there. And Sam Altman was responsible for that, which is likely why he has so many loyal followers within OpenAI company. They want to cash in, they want that money. And then OpenAI itself defining artificial general intelligence as autonomous systems that surpass humans in most economical, valuable tasks, i.e. things that make money for companies, which makes sense. And I went to ChatGPT and I gave it some math problems to solve. And funny enough, I gave Google the same problems. They both solved them just as well. They're obviously different systems for different purposes. And I'm sure this Project Q, Project Star, is obviously not available for public, but nothing about these definitions and nothing about doing simple grade school level math problems have any reference to self-aware systems, which is the whole scary Terminator scenario / threat to humanity. But nonetheless, they see Q-star as a major development on their road to AGI. Not only is it excellent PR, but also as Sam Altman being back as the CEO, he can use all of this to increase the valuations even more. But the important thing to remember is that all the competitors are working on the very same things, and they're all coming after OpenAI. Okay, so that's Q and Q-star, but on the other hand, there's the big data that AI uses, and I think there's important things to learn and remember from the usage of big data. So knowledge is power, information is money. Processing this information, the AI itself, is a product for companies to use. A lot of the computer science people that I've met, and I'm generalizing here of course, but they think that big data solves the world's problems. And to me, this is extremely fascinating. Does it really solve the world's problems? But it's an extremely curious thing because I've had conversations with a Google software engineer, a Groupon engineer, and a brief in passing conversation with someone who worked at Facebook. They all had this in common. They thought big data, more info from users would solve the world's problems. And I really suspect they did not come up with those ideas themselves. They either got it at the companies they work for, or they got it at school, wherever they got their computer science degree. Nonetheless, I suspect this big data push, this constant accumulation of information of the users, of all of us, of course it makes a lot of money. Of course it's extremely powerful. And in a bizarre way, I think it's like a cult mindset, this constant desire for more and more info. And it makes perfect sense that the companies would instill this sort of world vision to its employees, to the very employees in charge of accumulating all this knowledge, all this information about all sorts of people all over the world. They want more money, and in their industry, it gives them more power, more leverage. But the world vision of that itself, I think, is problematic. And the reason why is simple, because there's no end to how much information is enough. How much is enough to know about Joe and Jane to persuade them to buy this, to persuade them to think so-and-so? Extremely powerful positions. So that's why I think it's a cult. And I think all the software engineers, all the computer scientists are told that they're actually doing a great service for humanity, when in fact they're just tools to get the job done of getting more info. Some people are so diehard about AI, they've even started a church. Unsurprisingly, a computer science guy, this guy named Anthony Lewandowski, who used to work for Google, he started the Church of AI in 2015, basically aiming to merge computer science and spirituality, hoping to form a spiritual connection of sorts with artificial intelligence, i.e. big data. I'm not making this up. Even Bloomberg wrote about it. This is why I think proponents of big data, they have a world vision that is very particular. It even goes by the name of way of the future. This was asked by Bloomberg, so how does a person who lives out in the real world, let's say in rural America, how do they relate to this? What does all of this mean for their jobs, for their future? The response was, way of the future is a mechanism for them to understand and participate and shape the public discourse. Get this, this is the weird part, as to how we think technology should be built to improve you. I'll say that last part again. Participate and shape the public discourse as to how we think technology should be built to improve you. And I know these guys are silly with their Church of AI kind of thing, becoming so intelligent that these clowns are going to think it's divine. So I bring this guy up just to highlight that a lot of companies, a lot of people in the computer science world, they really think that their tech will improve your life. And some of it does. Some of it really does. I would say YouTube is a perfect example. Even if you don't agree with a company, you can literally learn almost any subject on YouTube, which is amazing. We ourselves were watching YouTube. Google knows all sorts of information about us. So big data is big money, and it's a very powerful tool. But at the same time, this guy highlights that mentality, that world vision, that what they make, what they program, what they design, as long as they can constantly aggregate more and more information, especially about humans, they and their creations will be able to solve the world's problem. The clear and obvious issue is that there's never ever enough info, as we have seen time and time again with privacy concerns. Anyways, funny enough, this Anthony Lewandowski character, according to Bloomberg, he got in trouble with the law and was sentenced to 18 months in prison, supposedly for stealing trade secrets, i.e. he was taking data he was not supposed to. Oddly enough, he was pardoned by everyone's favorite Orange Man. But I really think that this guy perfectly represents what AI, or even just big data companies, are trying to get at. That according to this Anthony Lewandowski character, sophisticated AI systems could help guide humans with moral, ethical, and even existential problems. Pretty bizarre. And check out the quote from this guy. He says concerning AI, "Here, we're actually creating things that can see everything, be everywhere, know everything, and maybe help us, guide us in a way that normally you would call God." So this guy used to work at Google and also worked at Uber. Two companies that take, absorb, aggregate information to the max. And AI does exactly the same thing. So information, knowledge equals, of course, power. Just think about the Catholic Church, just for a minute. So back in the day, they basically ruled the world. They had every person confessing, so the church itself knew all the secrets. Extremely powerful position. That sounds wacky, but think about it. Knowledge is power. Synthesized information is power. The people who had access to the knowledge had the power. And that was the church at the time. And now certain companies have the vast knowledge of the world, all at their fingertips. So I think just like in ancient times, ancient Babylon, let's say, or even the Mayans, perfect example, where you have certain oracles, certain priests, basically the class of people in those times that had vast amounts of information. For example, the guy in ancient Babylon holding those little clay tablets where it had all the zodiac signs, perfectly mapped stars. It's amazing stuff. So generally speaking, in the end, even though technology changes, these same issues of AI, aggregated knowledge, aggregated information, all of this has been true since the beginning of time. The humans with more info, with more knowledge, with more drive to collect that info, well, they tend to climb to the top. And it makes sense. Sam Altman, sure, he's looking to make a buck, but at the same time, he's part of the class of computer scientists that have a never-ending thirst because all of this information that they get from me and you and our neighbors, it's all for our own good. And of course, it's also for their own good. But this is certainly not just about money and power. This is also about a certain class of people improving others, improving you and I, in accordance to what they see is best for us. It's that godlike complex that as long as they can just gather as much information as possible, they can solve the world's problems. Now you're probably thinking, I just lost my mind. If you know anyone who works in computer science, ask them about this stuff. Ask them about this world vision of aggregated data. It's absolutely fascinating. I have a couple of friends who get anxiety because of this AI talk, because it threatens humanity. And I would say don't let that happen to you because I honestly think it's nothing new. It's simply an evolution of something that's been happening since the beginning of time. All very interesting stuff nonetheless. Well guys, I think I'll stop the video here. So don't forget to drop your insightful comments below. And if you don't feel like sharing something in the comments, you're always welcome to email me directly. You can find my email in the About section of the channel. And definitely use it if you think you might trigger the algorithm, because the AI is watching after all. All right guys, well thanks again for spending time with me. Please don't forget to smash the like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.
Did anybody out there